League fans, my name is Steve Mascord and this is our flagship morning show on Thursdays and Fridays, and I'm back in London now after bringing you the show from Toulouse last week, and we've got an NRL game kicking off this hour, as is customary until the clocks change, but there's been a bit of doubt about the game with the Roosters visiting Manly, visiting Brookvale Oval, and torrential rain and lightning and all sorts of stuff, throwing the game in a little bit of jeopardy. So it's Darcy Terri Evans' return to the peninsula, and we'll keep you up to date with what happens during the course of the hour, of course, as we do every week with the NRL game on during the show. Also, at the end of the hour, you'll be hearing from the great Tony the Mole Adams with all the rugby league gossip. So really looking forward to that. Let me take this opportunity to tell you what we've got coming up on the station this coming weekend. Tonight, UK time, we're going to have Mick Gledhill at the One Bore Stadium, and it will be Castleford at home to Bradford. Tomorrow night, we have the opportunity, that's Friday night, to welcome Matt Horton to the team. Welcome, Matt. And he will be at the Seal Group Craven Park. And it's the game of the round. It's the champions, Hull KR, up against St Helens. And that is actually going to pull us up for this weekend. We won't be bringing you Hull or London on Sunday, but we'll certainly be bringing you score updates from the other matches. Okay, in the news at the moment, there's some interesting stuff kicking around. The Broncos want to buy into Suncorp Stadium. They've got enough money with all the people coming through the turnstiles there every second week. The Broncos want to buy into Suncorp Stadium and help transform it into a better venue ahead of the Brisbane Games. Secondly, we've also got a change to the agent accreditation scheme at the NRL, where they're going to stop agents who are suspended from just handing their clients over to a stablemate. You can't then just go to another agent in the same company. They're also going to bring the number of accredited agents down to under 100. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't really oppose that, but I guess there'll be individual instances where, you know, it might raise an eyebrow, or I might disagree with that. And also some news kicking around that there's going to be an Emerging Nations World Cup on it concurrently with the World Cup in Australia at the end of the year. So I'm really interested to keep an eye on that. And it's being driven from Africa. It's being driven from Ghana, who want this tournament to happen. Okay, that's it for the little intro section of the show. We're going to bring you score updates from Manly versus Sydney Roosters if the game continues and isn't stopped by inclement weather. Inclement is a euphemism, I think, there. Biblical, I think, is probably a better word. And then we're going to hear from Mole at the end of the hour. So stay tuned. You're on rugbyleague.com's Good Morning League fans. So the game is underway, and it was remiss of me in the first part of the program not to run you through the teams for Manly. From fullback, Tom Trbojevic, captain. The wingers are Jason Saab and Lehigh Hopewadi. The centres are Tolatu Kola and Ruben Garrick. The halves, Luke Brooks and Jamal Fogarty. And the forwards from prop, Taniela Paseka, Brandon Wakeham, Kobe Hetherington, Homali Olakuatu, Ben Trbojevic, Jake Trbojevic. The bench is Jake Simkin, Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullimore, Paul Bryan, Simeone Lafai, and Josh Falidi. And for the Roosters, fullback again, fullback and captain, James Tedesco. The wingers are Daniel Tupou and Mark Nwanganita-Wase. The centres are Billy Smith and Robert Toya. The halves are Daly Cherry Evans and Sam Walker. And from prop, Nafahu White, Reece Robson, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Siwa Wong, Egan Butcher. The bench is Connor Watson, Blake Steep, Nat Butcher, Salisi Focchetti, Cody Ramsey, and Hugo Savala. As I said, conditions are slippery, but certainly not cyclonic like earlier. A referee is Wyatt Raymond, And our video referee is Chris Butler. And as I said, as I promised you, score updates throughout the hour. Wow, opening seconds of the game, Tom Trbojevic finishes off a 90-metre movement. Jason Saab going down the right wing. The crowd, who are a hardy lot at 4 Pines Park because the conditions are terrible, they can't believe their luck. An early lead to Manly. 6-0, would you believe? 6-0, Manly over Sydney Roosters. And a short time ago, there were 5 minutes gone. More points, and this time for the Roosters. Mark Nwanganita-Wase sneaks over in the northeastern corner. Sam Walker unable to convert. Marky thought that he received a bit of extra attention, illegal attention after he touched down, but the referee wasn't listening to that. And the scoreline now with 10 minutes gone, it is Manly 6, Sydney Roosters 4. You're on rugbyleague.com, and this is the Good Morning League fans, and we are keeping an eye on an NRL game that is in progress. And Manly scored against the Roosters after a few seconds. Roosters hit back with an unconverted try, so the scoreline hasn't changed. It's Manly 6, Sydney Roosters 4. Manly 6, Sydney Roosters 4, with 16 or 17 minutes gone. A second try to Mark Nwanganita-Wase, and the Roosters are in front against Manly. Confirmed by the bunker that he got it down cleanly, and Sam Walker's sideline conversion attempt has been unsuccessful. So midway through the first half at 4 Pines Park in the opening match of the round in the NRL, it's Sydney Roosters 8, Manly 6. Sydney Roosters 8, Manly 6. We've got a possible try to the Fijian international Brandon Wakeham for the Manly side. It's just being checked by the bunker now, and I'll come back to you after this song, or after this ad break, with the decision. Try disallowed. It was James Tedesco ruled to have been illegally taken out in the air, and so the scoreline remains heading into the final 15 minutes of this NRL game at 4 Pines Park. It's Sydney Roosters 8, Manly 6. Jamal Fogarty's conversion attempt unsuccessful, so the scoreline remains Manly 10, Sydney Roosters 8. Closing in on halftime now, and that scoreline remains Manly 10, Sydney Roosters 8. Okay, let's go through those halftime details at 4 Pines Park. It's Manly 10, Sydney Roosters 8. Tom Trbojevic scoring in the opening seconds, 0 minutes on the official ledger. Tolutau Kola, sensational individual try in the 28th minute. Jamal Fogarty kicking 1 from 2. And for the Roosters, Mark Nwanganita-Wase snuck over in the right corner in the 6th and 17th minutes. And Sam Walker has failed to convert both his attempts at goal. So that scoreline, half-time at 4 Pines Park in the NRL, it's Manly 10, Sydney Roosters 8. Manly 10, Sydney Roosters 8. Coming up after this next song, you'll hear from The Mole. Fans, and welcome also to Tony the Mole Adams YouTube channel. Hope you're enjoying yourself and looking forward to a weekend of rugby league. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, doing well, Steve. Rugby league season's chugging along here in Sydney. We've got a big game tomorrow. Daly Cherry Evans going back to Manly with the Roosters. So everyone's talking about that. Going to be interesting. Will he be booed? Will he be cheered? I think a bit of both.
Well, I think the people on the radio, the game will be on when they're listening to this. So I'll be sort of bothering them with score updates in between our chat, Tony. But now, speaking of Manly, you've got a great story here about Keith Titmus, who sadly died. He is suing Manly, and Lloyd Perrott is going to testify as a witness on his behalf. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to sum it up. Keith Titmus, let me just correct you, isn't suing because he's no longer with us, tragically, but his family is suing Manly. He collapsed at a training session and died in 2020. 3 years earlier, Lloyd Perrott collapsed at a Manly session and almost died. He was in a coma for several days. And they've both Perrott and Titmus's family have court cases going against Manly. And when I spoke to Perrott the other day, he said that he's volunteered to appear on behalf of Titmus's family. And this could end very badly for Manly. And I feel a bit sorry for the Seagulls in that none of the staff involved in those incidents in 2020 and 2017 are at the club anymore. But it's really got the potential to basically, if they both get massive payouts, I mean, the Manly club could cease to exist. We're talking millions of dollars, I would imagine, for both cases. So if Manly don't have a very good lawyer, they could be in a bit of strife.
Yeah, I guess in recent years we've focused on class actions with concussion and stuff like that, and probably haven't looked at how individual cases against clubs could, as you say, could send the clubs bankrupt,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a totally different situation, of course. But basically, these guys were training in summer and just pushed to the point of no return. And it's taught the NRL a very valuable lesson in that the clubs don't push the players quite so hard. They make sure they get water breaks on hot days, and just do stuff that's common sense that for some reason it appears was not done in these two cases with tragic results.
Yeah, back in the sort of 50s and 60s, having a drink of water during training was seen as a sign of weakness, but I don't know how they survived back then. But Tony, another big story kicking around the NRL in the last few days is Ben Te'o's departure from the Brisbane Broncos. What info do you have on that?
Yeah, well, the big question now is where does Ben Te'o go? The hot tip is down the coast to Josh Hannay and the Titans. They actually approached him before he linked up with the Broncos. But the quiet tip is South Sydney and his old mate Wayne Bennett. And let's not forget Te'o was part of the South Sydney team that won the comp under your good mate Richo back in, when was it, 2014?
2014 it was. And mate, the Perth Bears, Tony, they've I think they've got a team full of players now. They've got the first 13 players signed, I think. You've got a bit of mail on their latest target.
Yeah, and it's a kid at the Bulldogs, Jonathan Sewer, a good young winger. He's in their top 30 squad, but can't get a start in the top 17. So they're the sort of guys they're targeting at Perth, and I'll be surprised if the Dogs don't let him go. He's a 21-year-old, got plenty of pace, and scored a lot of tries in the lower grades.
Cool. And Tony, as I put my glasses on to check the next item, Dane Gagai, he is off contract. Will he play on?
Well, that's a big question. He's 35. He's always looked after his body. I thought he was one of the best players in a very disappointing Knights team that won the Spoon last year. He started this year okay, but he doesn't have a contract for next season. Maybe he's a good one for Super League. Maybe he could play alongside Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at Wakefield. What wasn't that a story, Steve?
Yeah, huge breaking yesterday. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is heading over here to Super League with Wakefield. I know that the Wakefield Trinity fanzine used to be called Wally Lewis is Coming. They were so excited about him. That was the name of the magazine. And I'm not sure he's quite in the Wally Lewis category as far as a marquee signing, but he's way up there, particularly for a club that was only just promoted a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it certainly surprised a lot of people here, Steve, because clubs like the Roosters, South, big, strong NRL clubs with plenty of money were looking at signing him, and he's gone to Wakey. So good luck to them.
I thought he might have gone back to rugby union, but there you go. Tony, always a pleasure. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll speak next week.
Thanks, Steve.